Everyone, thank you for joining me for this week's Brew the Tea with Shelby. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So this week's topic is endurance. Now that is a very significant topic for me this week, because I've learned this week that if you are not able to endure the things around you, to endure those difficult moments, those obstacles that come in our lives that are ultimately inevitable, because at the end of the day, we live in a world where no matter what, we will always be dealing with multiple obstacles regardless of what we achieve in our lives. So on this week's Brew the Tea with Shelby, I just wanted to talk about having endurance to deal with what we go through on a daily, or on a weekly, or on a yearly basis. Now, sometimes we deal with these situations, or we come into a time in our lives where we think everything is really great, and then after we're living it up and we've achieved whatever goals that we need to achieve and we're ready to move on to the next step, something comes in our way. Of course, it's called an obstacle. Now, that's life. You're always going to have something coming in your way or disrupting your path of success. However, what I've learned is that you cannot allow that, not that you can allow that to disrupt you, but the more endurance that you have, knowing that we are living in a world where we're always going to experience some type of disruption, some type of problem, we're going to hit some type of bump in the road, knowing that when you increase your endurance, when you are able to increase your level of endurance, then you are able to, when you get hit with whatever obstacle, when you hit whatever bump in the road, then when you increase your level of endurance, you are able to overcome it. In a sense where I'm not saying that you will just look at it and go, oh, a bump in the road, let me skip over it. No. But you will start to get into this mentality where, okay, I know I've dealt with this type of situation before. So if you are hitting a financial bump in the road, like, okay, I've been here before. What can I do? What happened the last time? How did I get over it the last time? And once you start to pay attention to that, these obstacles, these bumps in the road, and understanding that they're going to happen, because at the end of the day, we are human and we live in a world where no matter what, things are going to disrupt our path, get into our way when we are on our path of greatness. So when you are hit with that obstacle, when you are experiencing that bump in the road, when you hit that bump in the road, when you're experiencing the obstacle, and you start to realize that no matter what is going to happen, and you increase your level of endurance, then the road starts to become a little smoother for you. Not to say that bumps start to disappear, but you pay attention, you pay less attention to the bumps in the road. So sometimes we're going about our lives and things are happening, but when we increase our level of endurance, regardless of what's happening to us, regardless of what is causing this disruption in our life, now that we have this increased level of endurance, how we deal with the situation becomes different. We are no longer just sitting there crying or becoming angry. How we react to a situation becomes different. When we increase our level of endurance, how we react to situations become different. So if you probably last year, when you probably faced a financial difficulty, or you were having family problems or marital problems or relationship problems or friendship problems, when you last year probably, or last month, when you were dealing with that situation, now that you have increased your level of endurance, now that you are dealing with that same situation or a similar situation, you're not going to react the same way. So probably if you were dealing with financial situation and a financial issue, and you shut down and you became very depressed, or you started to lean on other people because you thought that made you feel better about the situation that you were going through, or you just started to give up on your faith. But because you have increased your level of endurance, then your reaction of shutting down, of leaning on other people, of decreasing your faith, that was no longer your reaction. Because that level of endurance, you have actually increased your faith. You have anticipated, you gained the knowledge, knowing that this is a situation that you dealt with before. So now you are not shutting down. Instead, you are telling yourself, okay, I've done this before. I've been here before. You know what? I know that I can get past this. The same way I got past it before, the same way I overcame it before, with the grace of God, with the help of God, by the grace of God, I know that I can get over this situation now as well. That's what happens when you increase your level of endurance. When you increase your level of endurance, you are no longer reacting the same way you were when you're dealing with certain situations. You know, in my book, Diminished Dreams, the character Cherry has been dealing with very similar disruptions her whole life. She's always in the book. She talks about how she's always dealing with individuals who are turning their back on her or who she can't rely on. Now, if had Cherry increased her level of endurance, then when she met someone else who also turned their back on her, she would have not reacted, or she wouldn't have turned to drugs. Because if you read the book, you can see that Cherry struggles with a drug addiction. She's a drug addict, and what happens is that every time someone comes in her life and disappoints her, she turns to the drugs. However, if Cherry would have increased her level of endurance, her reaction would have not, when she was having these issues with all these individuals in her life, with her friends and her ex-boyfriends and her associates, when she dealt with problems with them again, had she had an increased level of endurance, she would not have turned to the drugs. Instead, her reaction would have been different. And what happens when you have this increased level of endurance and your reaction starts to change, then sometimes the issues that arise they also start to change. Sometimes when we are dealing with, say, financial situations, and our level of endurance is very low, and so every time a financial situation arises, we are getting so upset, and we're losing our faith, and we're complaining, and we're angry. If that is constantly your reaction, then you are unable to have a financial breakthrough. You are unable to receive your financial blessing because your reaction to your financial struggles is always the same. Oftentimes when you change your reaction to things, when you increase that level of endurance and you change your reaction to things, then you are releasing your blessing. You are releasing a new outcome. You are releasing your breakthrough. Sometimes we have to learn how to increase our level of endurance, change our reactions so that we can no longer, so that whatever issue that we were constantly dealing with, that we were always that was always leading us back to the same place year after year, day after day, when we change our reaction to it, then that's when a new door opens up. That's when a new blessing is bestowed upon us, because we are showing God that our faith has increased. But when you are constantly shutting yourself down and you are constantly becoming angry about a situation that ultimately sometimes you can't control, or that you can control but you are choosing not to control it because you would rather allow your emotions to overcome us, then that starts to block your blessings. When you are able to increase your level of endurance, and you are able to start to change your reactions to the obstacles and the bumps you are facing in the road, then that's when you start to release. That's when your blessings are being released. That's when you are able to increase your faith and not so much worry and be concerned about what's going wrong. You start to pay attention to what's going right. So I hope for you guys this week, this new week that's coming up, that you learn to increase your endurance, that you learn to change your reaction to things, and that once you start to do that, that your blessings will finally be released, that your financial breakthroughs will finally start to arise. Because at the end of the day, we have more power than we would like to give ourselves, but we on this earth, in this life, God has given us the power to make the decision to keep our faith, to hold on to our faith, so that our blessings can be released. So I hope that in this week, you guys increase your level of endurance, and that you shall see your blessings start to arise and be bestowed upon you. Thanks, guys, for joining me for this week's Brew the Tea with Shelby. If you have not, please go and click the link in my bio and order your copy of Diminished Dreams. I'm super excited because I've been getting really great reviews. People are loving the book. They were unaware that I could be that creative. So I'm loving the reviews. I'm loving everyone's reaction. So if you have not gotten your copy of Diminished Dreams, don't wait any longer. Go in, click the link, and order it on Barnes & Noble, or you can order it from the 13th and Joan website. and I will autograph it for you, and you could also still get a calendar or another special gift that I am creating. So don't wait. Click the link and order your copy of Diminished Dreams today. Have a great weekend, guys. Love ya.